Welcome to the Circle Sessions featuring the Circle of Experts. Each week, one of the Circle of Experts joins me to talk about critical aspects of growing your podcast. The Circle of Experts are Yasmine Robles and Izzy Dadosky from Rebel Marketing, Tanisha English Amamu of TJE Communications, and Don the Idea Guy. I'm Brett Johnson, my podcast guy from Circle 270 Media Podcast Consultants. This week, Yasmine and Izzy are here. They work alongside clients to design a website that's driven by strategy, looks amazing, and that you can use to grow your podcast and then in turn your business as well. Yasmine and Izzy, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having us back.
Yep.
We are actually recording this in September, but it's themed holiday hype without the burnout, which I'm guilty of this too, of not really thinking about how to handle the holidays for content creation until it's too late. And that's just because you get busy. I probably do a better job for my clients than I do for myself. But we want to talk about how to prep your podcast and also, business content creation before the holidays, specifically that full month of December, really, when it comes down to it. So, Yasmine, let's talk about, why planning now. I mean, this is going to be released in September. Why in September? Is it that too early? I'm almost feeling it's not.
No, well, I come from the world of corporate retail. So we start, fashion too. So the
Yeah.
fashion designers are thinking about holiday, I don't even know, January 1st of the of the
Yeah.
year, spring. But marketing starts to, depending on what department or what area of marketing you
Hmm.
do. Generally, though, everyone is in the holiday feels and working on holiday tasks around September, October. October is usually also, I believe, when we start doing code freezes. So that means like no changes. Like you already strategize everything. It's really about implementation.
Right.
Um, so that's why I come into it that way. But also, you don't want to spend the holidays worrying about what you're supposed to be doing for your business. You want that stress off because we all know the holidays are stressful enough with our personal lives and our family
Mhm.
dynamics than
Yeah.
having to
Well,
add business to it.
yeah, and I would think depending on what content you're creating, if it's very holiday intensive, there is some movement, some changes. Yeah, planning ahead is going to be good. Or if it's like, you know what, I want to take 3 weeks off. I don't want to be doing anything. Now it's the time to be planning to put that ahead.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. But thinking about the types of listeners that are going to be on a podcast, those who want to take a break and those who want to maximize holiday visibility. So let's take a look at from the standpoint of that the holidays have a different type of listenership. We just came off of summer, and I'm talking to my clients and reminding them that summer we have a different schedule of life,
Mhm.
and we listen to podcasts differently. I think we can look at that also as well for the holidays. We want to talk a little bit about that too.
So Yasmine comes from the world of corporate, and I come from the world of anxiety. So I would also say
Yeah.
that planning ahead is very important for things like this because also during this time specifically, you also probably want to take a break, not just your audience. So, but I would say with podcasts and different things, just because it's not the summertime and people might not be like on vacation or doing other things listening, well, they might be driving to their parents' house and a long car ride and they could still be podcasting. It's like everybody has a different scenario
Mhm.
in their lives. And I think people sometimes are just like, especially for us, they're like, well, we don't really feel like we need to post during the holidays or we feel like we don't need to cover these things during the holidays. But it's like you can have those scheduled ahead and it's still like you're talking to your audience in a way, but you don't have to be fully present to interact.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're still making yourself visible during that time, so it doesn't seem like you just disappeared or anything. And if you do want to disappear and you don't want to schedule, you can literally just post that too, being like, I'm disappearing for 2 weeks. And I'm pretty sure people would be pretty understanding about that. But yeah, that's what I have to say.
I
Yeah.
and what? Go ahead, Yasmin. Yeah.
I was going to say, like, I was wondering, it depends on your type of podcast too. Like if you have a crime podcast and you're covering some, I don't know, holiday themed crime, uh, or where you're getting your money
Spiked
from.
punch or
Yes,
spiked
Hmm.
punch. You killed
the
everybody at the
extra
holiday
spike
party.
budget.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
It was
I
the
said
eggnog.
that, yeah, it's, family dynamics are just weird during the holidays. Um, but think about like where your revenue's coming from. So ad revenue, if it is a podcast that runs through the holidays, is it a podcast that is going to get a lot of traction for the holidays? And if so, would you be able to sell ad slots for people like if they're selling holiday widgets? Can you in September, October sell those ad slots, particularly for those items, right? For those to those companies and ask them if they want an ad slot. So think about it that way too. Like what kind of content are you putting out? If it's a business podcast, will you just be repurposing content? Or is there something that you could launch? It just, I guess, who is listening? When are they listening to it? If it's a crime podcast, I'll be like Izzy and listen to it in a car, while I'm driving to a
Mhm.
family gathering
Right.
with my
Well,
special eggnog.
I think you can look at it a couple of ways, just as you two have done as well too. Is if you've been able to podcast over a multiple season, take a look at what your how your content did last year or the year before in these 2 months. Take a look at it, and also realize during the holidays, people start listening to radio even more because they want to hear holiday music.
Hmm.
And there's these Hallmark Channel 24/7 of Christmas movies, and holiday movies and such. So you're fighting that competition, and maybe you shouldn't. Just let it be. It's only 45 days, probably. So yeah, if
For some
kind of
people.
right. Some it's
For some
90.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Or some would just love to have the
Yeah.
Halloween season extend into December, that sort of thing. But it just kind of realize the competition's up a little bit. Maybe you don't have to fight it necessarily. Just kind of know that it exists, and maybe talk to your listeners or viewers in a different way. Maybe it's more email that during that time,
Mhm.
newsletter, update or something like that. I know a lot of people do reissue and redo older episodes. I'm not a tremendously big fan of that. I think it's kind of to a certain degree, a little bit lazy way out, but I think you can use older content to maybe readdress, bring in older content, but put something in front and back of it or something like that. I don't
Mhm.
know, but just bring something fresh to it that it's like, well, because if somebody remembers it from, especially your heavy listener, and they remember it again, it's like they're going to be disappointed. It's like, wait a minute, I just heard this back in March. Um,
Yeah.
but if you do something a little bit different with it, I think that helps a lot too. And that's again addressing who your listeners are and to maximize that visibility. You guys came up with some options of addressing this time period. And option one you called the planned pause strategy. And we kind of talked about this a little bit, but Yasmine, let's go into it a little bit more. What your thoughts were.
Yeah, so, the way I was thinking is just if this is for the person or business owner who knows that they're going to pause for whatever reason, whether business is just slower, whether you need more time with family, or you need more time to decompress after having family over. You just want to pause on, I guess, the hustle of everything. And so this is a little bit about how to take a break without just completely ghosting. Now, this is totally an option. You can't just ghost people or ghost your audience, but ideally, you don't want to work that hard when it's time to bring them back into the fold.
Mhm.
So, what I suggest is batching 1 or 2 episodes ahead of time. We do this a lot anyway because as business owners, we get really busy. You can do end of year reflections, top episode recaps, or best of. If you have, like, I've seen some crime podcasts do, even if it's just a blog post, or they might do an episode, but it is revisiting a crime and then adding, because there was maybe some new evidence that came up. So they might either add, like Brett said, add to that podcast episode, or they will update everyone in the newsletter or in the blog or their community. So that's just a couple of things. You can I know for Market Like It's Hot, we recently recorded one on gratitude. And so you can showcase gratitude and give your community a shout out episode or a private episode if they're part of like a Patreon or something. You can update your website, your homepage, your artwork, and tell people that you're on break till January. And here are the top episodes, so that they understand. Oh, they're on break for this amount of time. It's not like something horrible happened to them. Obviously, I listen to too many crime podcasts. You know, I guess the other portion would be like, oh, they're on break. They didn't win $1 million and have
Right.
abandoned this episode, right?
Yeah.
So it's a planned break. And so I've seen that before too, where they say this is the last episode of the year. We will see everybody back here in February. And
Mhm.
so I'm excited to hear from them in February. And then use your other channels like social, email, all of that to just stay slightly visible. So even if you're not recording a podcast or putting out a full blog post, schedule a couple of nostalgic or personal posts, a look back post behind the scenes. Um, Something like, here's our favorite episode from 2024, 2025, while we sipped hot cocoa.
Mhm.
Maybe just an image of you at a holiday event with your team. Anything to give that personality, that personal touch, that human aspect. But you pre-scheduled it. So it's a little bit lighter on your load.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And you made a really good point about, hey, we're going to be back, taking a break. We're going to be back in February, as your example.
Mhm,
Start to plan out how to do the touch points again. Those emails saying, hey,
mhm.
we promised, and here's a tease of what's coming up. So they
Yeah,
know, okay, they may not have it marked on the calendar when that episode or the next blog or whatever video or whatever content you're creating,
yeah.
but at least they know you're still around, that you are
I
still
like that.
creating, that sort of thing. I think that's really good that
Yeah,
it's and it's soft touch points. It's to your point, content, a touch point that can be scheduled ahead of time. You can create an
yeah.
email and put it in, and it can be scheduled 6 weeks from now. That sort of thing. But I
Mhm.
do like your taking photos during the holidays. Hey, we're listening to our favorite episodes and sipping hot cocoa. That's a really good time to even cross promote and having some fun with other podcasts that you may enjoy too.
Mhm. Yeah.
That allowing them to get more of a personality from you and kind of go, yeah, I've been listening to this found a new one that you guys might want to listen to too. Don't worry about losing listeners over that just showcases who you are, creating something a little bit more. So yeah. Izzy, there's option 2 that we want to talk about, the visibility and sales strategy. Yasmine talked a little bit about that, I think a little bit before, but kind of looking at if you've got some dollars and cents tied to it, here's some ideas as well too.
Yeah, so especially for us, I would say like this would be the time to start booking ahead for
Mhm.
the next year. So like sometimes
Yeah.
we have guests on our podcast, so making sure that they're available for us to have them on to talk for the next year is always a good thing. But also, if we don't want to create these episodes within that month too, and we're kind of on a break, we can always promote a freebie with a popular episode that we already have. So for us, like if we were talking about Market Like It's Hot, we could always be like, we're gonna give you the gift of the holidays and joy with a free marketing plan or a marketing worksheet, and then just have that added in and promote it that way, because it's still like you're not creating new content, you're just reusing it in
Mhm.
a way that might even be seen more now with the holiday theme tied to it. So
Right.
saving time and money on that one, plus you might get some leads from it. Publish content that's easier to digest because everybody is in a holiday mood and not in a work mood.
Yeah.
reading really long graphics during the holidays, probably not fun for anybody, so probably don't do that. You can also do shorter episodes, so if you don't want to record a 30-minute episode or an hour episode, but you just still want to get something, you could just do like a 10-minute like hot take on whatever your business is doing. Or if you just want to maybe even sum up the year in 10 minutes of like what you've learned, I think that would also be good. but then it's not going to take as long to edit as well. So to keep it 10 minutes or less. And then again, just mini solo episodes like little stories, behind the scenes, Q&A, or yeah, any services that you're providing during the holidays. Or I know sometimes businesses will give certain discounts during the holidays too. So if you want to use that as a way to promote your business and your podcast, I think that would be beneficial. But yeah.
Yeah, you bring up a good point in Rebel Marketing and Circle 270 Media. I have a feeling we have the same type of uh, sales cycle, I guess you want to call it. That you have a lot of people contacting you as the year ends because of just the new year.
Yep.
They are looking to do something different. They're changing their strategy, or they're just tired of who they're working with, or maybe the person they worked with before is leave. Whatever the case might be, I get
Mhm.
the same thing for podcasts. That it's one of those we're gonna do this in the new year, and they're smart and they get a hold of me, within October, November, even December time period. So that's not a time for us to
Yeah.
let off the gas of creating content, not necessarily full bore, like you mentioned, but those little things that just keep your name and social media active and podcasts active, that it just keeps reminding those that are been searching for you to, it's like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to talk to Rebel Marketing. Oh yeah, I've been meaning to, I got to get this podcast stuff going. So at least it's not leaving social media in the dark and you're just not doing anything. When they start searching you up,
Hmm.
at least they're seeing some recent posts.
Yeah.
It falls right into it. When you were talking about that, that's what uh, was in my mind. Going, yeah, that's a time period you can't pull back. Yeah, honestly, yeah, and I think it's a good lesson in knowing your cycles of
Hmm.
who's contacting you. If you're in that business podcast realm, and know that, yeah, I got to stay active in this period, but I got to do it smart.
Yeah.
Yasmine, some content ideas for holiday episodes. I like these. It's one of those, get creative. This is a really good time of year to be creative about what you do to help with the load.
Yeah, so just a couple of ideas or
Yeah.
brainstorming that you can use to get started. So something like Dear, whatever year you're listening to this on, like Dear 2025, here's what I'm letting go of. And it can be, this could fit like whether we're doing it for my market like it's hot, or we're doing it for circle of experts, or whatever it is, like what are we letting go of? So this could fit potentially various niches,
Mhm.
and then what you're carrying into the new year. um just explaining 3 lessons you learned in business this year, that still sting but help me grow. So that's some, people love hearing the behind the scenes, especially as business owners. We love hearing how your growth went and what worked, what didn't work, so that one, we don't make the same mistakes, but two, so that we can help cheer you on because you've gotten a learning out of these. um like top 3 listener favorite episodes and why they resonated. So you don't have to rehash the same episode,
Mhm.
but you can take clips from some of them and say this is why we believe they resonated with people.
Mhm.
Here's what's coming up on the podcast in 2025. So back to or 2026, what back to what Brett said um about the teaser. So even if you are taking a break or not, but you have a teaser on like maybe who is a guest that has already recorded, just hasn't been necessarily edited. Um, that might be coming in January, February of the new year. So that's always a pretty cool one, especially if it's a big guest. Um, some kind of unpopular opinion holiday edition. So whether you're a health nut or you're a marketing agency or whatever sort of business you have, an unpopular opinion in your industry, the holiday edition would be nice. Just as a side note, unpopular opinion about if it's for health, like, can I actually stuff my face all of the holiday? Is that good? Is that a possibility? Um, what I wish I'd known before the holidays last year, or what I wish I'd known before XYZ.
Right.
Again, it's more of the reflection episodes that are fun, a bit more lightweight. I think it was Izzy that said those kind of lightweight um, episodes or subjects that feel like a wrap up to the year, but still set you up for success.
Well, I'll play a little inside baseball here that, we still have to schedule a couple more episodes. I say we do a Dear 2025. Here's what I'm letting go. And we just all three of
Yeah.
us come up with 3 ideas. And I love the 3 lessons I learned in business this year that still sting, but it helped me
Mhm.
grow. We should do a couple episodes just on those. And
Yeah.
from the perspective that we are small business owners. We're solo, somewhat solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, that sort of thing. So, and
Mhm.
we can tie it in really easily. So I love those ideas already. So
Mhm.
we may already have a couple episodes set up. So great idea. No, exactly. Um, we had talked about a lot of stuff here in regards to helping some ideas to help you at least address the next few months to know how to do this. But could be some tactical tips that can make it easier. And Izzy, let's go over those. I mean, first one mentioned, it's kind of obvious, but not a lot of people do use a calendar.
Yeah, and also make sure other people are on that calendar if you are collaborating with them is
Yeah.
also a good note. But yeah, if you're thinking about taking a break during that time, but you're still wanting to schedule episodes, definitely use a calendar and probably record weekly. Like for us, for Rebel Marketing, I mean, we also are trying to take a break during November because there's a baby.
Mm.
But
There's a baby.
there's a baby. So we've been recording multiple episodes probably every week for the past few months just to make sure that we're ahead of that so Yasmine can take a break.
And
But
that's,
yeah,
in doing that, that's really habit forming too. You
yeah,
may not let
Mhm.
go of that habit once you kind of get back in the cycle of doing it because it's one of those you've had it on the calendar. And
mm-hmm,
but
Yeah.
it's filling it out. What you guys do a mixture of interview and quote unquote solo episode between the two of you. It becomes if you let it become a habit, it does become a habit because it's on the calendar and
yeah,
and you don't want to let it go. Yeah.
yeah. And then also just picking your goal for the your podcast. So are you wanting to grow? Are you trying to get leads from your podcast? Or are you just trying to take a rest for the holidays and you don't want anything to come your way, which is also completely fine because burnout is a real thing. So pick what you want your goal to be, and then make sure that you're applying different strategies to make sure you can accomplish that. And then also kind of like what I just said, you can also batch record episodes. So sometimes you'll see me in the same shirt episode back to back. I swear to God, I don't wear the same outfit every day like a cartoon character. We were probably batch recording episodes. So that's always something to keep in mind.
But also at the same time, that's a really good point. If you don't want that look,
Yeah,
remember to bring a change of a top or a hat or something like that. No, I've had clients that do that when they're doing video focus stuff, that they do bring a change. They don't want that look. They
yeah,
want it to be different. So it does make a difference because by the time it's all said and done and you have it recorded and you start looking going, oh no, I'm wearing the same thing like 7 different episodes. And most people aren't going to care though, but if you do, make a note of it. Change. Yeah.
actually, I want
Or
the
just
audience to
never
care.
change.
Or just never
Like,
change. Never go
yeah.
changing.
Be
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
what was it? Steve Jobs. Just, the same
Yeah.
shirt every day.
Always. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's also something to consider.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and put it on your calendar, maybe that you need to bring the change of clothes when you're batch
That
recording.
that too. Throw
Yeah,
it in the car before you go or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Put it in the comments so when you're looking up the directions where to record, it also has that you need to bring a second outfit.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Um, and then also schedule a newsletter or social support ahead of time. So things that are referencing your podcast content that's already probably going to be coming out. So people can find it and know that you're still posting around this time. So it's different touch bases, but it's a different way to keep them still engaged. And then we use schedulers. So we use Metricool, but we use Boomcaster to record our podcast, but we can, edit that and record that at a certain date and time and then post it later. But we can also, yeah. So
Now, you bring up Metricool. What is Metricool? I've not heard of that.
it's a social scheduling thing.
Hmm.
So we can schedule when we want like a YouTube video to come out or like a YouTube clip or
Gotcha.
Instagram, LinkedIn, all the socials. So yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm.
Yeah. The one of the podcasts I work with and have been doing it for a while, called "Looking Forward Our Way." We do a lot of guest expert interviews locally here in Columbus, Ohio, in studio. But we've also made the choice that we don't want to do recordings in during the holidays, number one, as we're approaching December, but also looking at weather. We don't want to ask our guests to have to
Mm.
traverse icy roads. Now, luckily or not, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, weather has gotten different. So in a shortened period of time that the weather can be bad, but we still don't have to reschedule and such. So we do a lot of batch recording. Like we're in the busy season now, getting things up, and we're telling the guests that, okay, we're recording now, but it probably won't be out until January, that sort of thing. And they
Mhm.
totally get it. They understand, and there's nothing time sensitive about it. But to that point, my co-host and I have had long discussions, not long, but frequent discussions about how to approach those times off. So I think that's a cue as well too. Is like you have a co-host, talk these things out because you may not be on the same page
Yeah.
about
Mhm.
how to do this or why you're taking a break or need to take a break. It's just a discussion. Doesn't mean it's the end of the podcast, but know that you're both on the same page about how to approach those times off, vacations, or again, pregnancy, or God forbid something really bad happens and you've got to take a break.
Like Yasmine gets hit by a bus. We've planned
Ri-
for that
Yeah,
as well.
that's my thing. I might
Is
get hit
that
by
your
a bus,
thing?
guys.
Is
I
that
like
your
being
thing?
prepared. You might hear like a ton of episodes on Market Like It's Hot, even after I pass over. Like Izzy's gonna keep the party going. Then there's
Keep the
AI. I might always have a
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
It's my
Got
AI
enough.
voice.
You've got enough out there. AI could probably replicate it pretty well. Exactly. That's just a decision that Izzy will have to live with. Uh, oh my gosh. So let's wrap this up. I think this has been a really timely and really good discussion because it catches content creators by surprise. They're just in go
Mhm.
mode, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, it's 2 weeks before Halloween. I haven't even thought about the holiday. So, Yasmine, what are some kind of takeaways to think about?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is deciding soon what you want to
Yeah.
do. What does your business want to do overall? So if you're podcasting, just like if it's a regular podcast, just a crime podcast, what do you want to do with that? What is your goal as soon as 2026 for us, or whenever you're listening to this, as soon as the new year hits? What is your goal for the podcast or the business? So start thinking more high level of what is the growth goal for the next year and how can I set myself up for success? Because if you're saying I want X amount of sponsors and ads in my podcast hitting January 2026, that's gonna you're probably gonna have to you're not gonna be able to pause. You're gonna have to keep working at it to promote those slots. But if you say, you know what, I'm gonna take it really easy. The podcast is great, it's doing well. I just want to make sure I have pre-recorded enough to get me through the end of the year and in a little bit into the next year while I, gear back up in January. So plan around that. And then I would also ask you to write down what has frustrated you the most and what have you enjoyed doing the most. Depending on where you are in your journey, you might want to invest in like an editor for the podcast if you've been DIYing it. You might want to invest in the website. If you have a podcast that's very focused on local, is it something where you can invest in local SEO?
Mhm.
Think about what were your big audacious goals and what did you like doing? Do you not want to do? What do you have the budget or the bandwidth to do yourself if you have to? And then plan that out. And then you can start saying, okay, well, I have to keep going. I can't just pause fully, but I have pre recorded a ton of episodes so that I can just focus on creating social media content.
Right.
Or check out like specific tools that will help you schedule things out. But you can't get there until you really see that whole picture.
Right. Yeah. Izzy, what are some of your thoughts? What's the biggest one thing you would want the listener to take away from this?
Other than hiring us.
Well,
Well,
Yeah.
that.
that's obvious.
But I would probably just go with preparation over anything.
Yeah. No, I think that's what this whole thing is all about. You're exactly
Yeah.
right. Whatever that means for you.
Yeah.
Whatever that means, that preparation means, do it better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree. To your point, Yasmine, hiring us. How can they get a hold of you if something resonated, especially your point about, okay, I need a better website for all the content I'm creating. I need to get a hold of Rebel Marketing. How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can find us at myrebelmarketing.com. You can download our free workbook. It's myrebelmarketing.com/checklist. We have Market Like It's Hot. You can listen to more of these episodes as well on this show. I think we give a lot of great content. So depending on where you are in your journey, you can always find either the free content or just chat with us. I will take bribery for, like, I can't do margaritas, but I will do coffee and carbs or tacos. I am pregnant, so I was told that the calories don't count. So you can always bribe me with that. And Izzy is drinking for 2 now, so she will take the bribery of the margarita. And
I
then we'll just
gotcha.
talk about yeah, we'll just talk marketing and what your goals are.
So you twisted her arm, basically. You
Oh,
asked.
yeah,
Yeah, you
it's a
just asked. Yeah.
sacrifice.
Oh,
It's
yeah. She
yeah,
she
she
took it
cries
for the
about
team.
it,
I
yeah.
Yeah.
bet. Took it for
Mm,
the team. Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. For Circle 270 Media Podcast Consultants, easily go to mypodcastguy.com. My scheduling calendar is there. If you need some help looking at the end of the year, how you're going to do things, as well as if 2026 is a jumping off point that you are looking to launch a podcast, get a hold of me. Now's a great time to be talking about that, because if you have a goal of January to launch, plenty of time yet, really a lot of time, but it does take 30 to 45 days to really get it in line so you feel comfortable and you're out the chute ready to go. And Yasmine and Izzy can attest to that with their podcast. They did a great job of pre-planning, where I worked with them, bouncing ideas around that sort of thing. And it takes that amount of time to feel comfortable with the launch. And again, it's not unique to podcasting. It's any content creation you're doing. Get it set, and then you can roll right into it, and you know that you're ready to roll, and it'll stay there for you. So thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Thanks for having us.